Howdy, howdy. Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Hello. God, I just saw Zenny lost 72 Hillstream loaches.
That's insane.
I'm so sorry. Wow.
The freaking power grid. I have to. I know that me and Jenna, we've been talking about, eventually upgrading the house, going like moving
Right.
somewhere in the vicinity. But there is a lot to be said for where we are right now, and the fact that we don't lose power for more than a day, and it's been, knock on wood, it's been more than a decade since that's happened.
Yeah.
Like the last bad hurricane, like actually having fish, or like the last bad power outage was 10 hours. And that was, I don't know, a couple of years ago during Katrina, which like where I
Yeah.
lived before lost power for a week, but in this neighborhood only lost power for the morning and came on in the afternoon.
Wow.
So I take for granted that I sort of kind of prepared for a power outage, but not in the same way that I would have to be if I lived basically anywhere else.
Yeah, I've lived in this house for 9 years. Wow. How did that happen? Um, and I don't think I've had a power outage longer than 3 hours. I mean,
That's
granted, since I've been here, there have been no like really severe weather events. And when I lived in Iowa, I mean, a tornado took out a big chunk of Iowa City while I was there. And then there were really epic floods that took out, I mean, the entire downtown. I don't think I ever lost power more than an hour. I mean,
yeah, and in that
yeah,
case, like the fish are fine. Even for
yeah,
the 10 hours that the power was out,
right.
I had the co-op USB pumps, like they're old school, the green barrel shaped
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
and put those on batteries. I had a stack of those cell
yeah,
phone battery banks, and just ran
right.
those. Not even in all the aquariums, just some of them.
Right,
I
and
think
these
I
power yeah, these power outages happened in, like, mild weather too. It was, like, May, and it was probably 70 degrees, so, I mean, fish are fine.
not that I would recommend it, but I think I even let the canister filter just power back on after sitting for 10 hours.
Yeah, I
It,
mean,
it was okay, but if I had to, like, if I did that again, I'd probably disconnect it and clean it just for
yeah,
cautious. I just wasn't thinking about it, and I
yeah.
hadn't had it very long.
I mean, I think it makes a difference if you have real temperature issues. I mean, if it's really hot
Yeah.
or it's really, really cold. I mean, and that's why the power grid up north is good because, like, people will die if they have electric heat and it dies. I
Mhm.
mean, not everyone has electric heat. A lot of us have gas heat, but
People
still,
die from heat stroke down
they
here
do.
too.
And that's what they don't realize is people die from heat stroke. It's just that you're more likely to die if
Yeah.
from
But yeah, the cold, that kind of bitter cold is no joke, but
right. And it's not as cold here as it is in Iowa, but it can get really cold. I mean, we got down to minus 17 for a week here this winter.
that
So
might kill me.
yeah, I mean, if you're outside, yeah, you could die. I mean, so
Right.
yeah, but Texas, I mean, what a mess. What a mess. And I don't see it being resolved because I don't think the Texas legislature has the wherewithal to do that. I just don't think that's
Yeah.
their priority, taking care of their people. So,
What
you know,
happened with Zen is just she had these Hillstream loaches that were colony breeding,
yeah,
and I didn't realize she had as many as she had in that
I
tank, along with
know.
goldfish, and it um it was just a lack of oxygen because it's so fucking hot.
It's so hot down there. Yeah. I mean, if she had lost power on a mild high of 75 day, I mean,
Hmm.
it would be okay. So, oh, yeah. And Zenny says we lose power if a squirrel farts too close to a transformer.
Yep, where I
Yeah.
used to live, that's exactly when we would lose power. Is like anything, any bit of inclement weather. If the wind blew too hard, that would at least be an hour of no power. In a hurricane, it was a week for Katrina. No, it was 8 days for Katrina. Where I grew up, it was like 11 days for Hurricane Andrew. And
Gee.
it was just kind of a way of life back then. With fish tanks, it's a completely different ball game. Like
Right. Yeah. I
one
mean, because Zenny would have been fine in 90-degree heat. Yeah, she would have been miserable. The kids would have been miserable. Your husband would have been miserable, but you know,
yeah,
it would have been
just
okay.
we took cold baths, cold showers to sort of
Yeah.
cool off.
There was one summer when I was a kid. I was a teenager, and Iowa is hot in the summer, and it was over 100 degrees for like 2 weeks that one summer. And we didn't have air conditioning that summer because it broke, and my parents didn't want to spend money to fix it, or I don't know.
Mm.
And I used to wake up at like 2 in the morning and take cold showers. It was awful. And we used to go to the library, just go to the library for fun all the time because we're so hot.
Before I
So
started paying somebody to cut our grass, that would be my ritual is after cutting the grass, just like either run the bath water, soak in cold water, or just like take a cold shower.
yeah. Jake pays someone to cut his lawn, even though he has a giant tractor for cutting it. He hates lawn mowing so much. He
It's
hates
not
it.
fun. It's I don't like anything tedious. So if
Well,
I can
he hates
outsource
lawn.
it,
Yeah. Jake hates lawns. He hates grass. He works with a bunch of basic dudes who just want to talk about their lawnmowers all day long, and no one gives less of a fuck than Jake, except for maybe you. I mean,
yeah, I'm right there with him.
I know, but the funny thing is some part on his tractor is way back ordered, and so he hasn't been able to mow. And we've had just monsoon rain here, and I think the grass is now like hip high. I mean, it's,
Well, I can appreciate some equipment that is capable of mowing that down.
it's a
I
big
just
old tractor, so yeah. But when you don't live in the city, no one is like giving you a ticket for not mowing. So
heat.
yeah.
Oh, we don't have any of that. Jack said.
Yeah. It's hot here. It's 88 degrees, which for May is very hot here. So I turned on my air conditioning this weekend, which I
I'm
was
ready for
hoping.
another hot one. I'm not ready for another drought.
Yeah, that was weird for you guys.
Yeah.
I always try to make it till May without turning on my air conditioner, but I broke down. I couldn't do it anymore.
A high electric bill is just part of living down here. Like I just consider it's part of the entertainment luxury creature
Yeah.
comfort budget in the bills. So Tommy got to hug Bunny Viper.
Wow! How did you meet Bunny? Oh, there. I just threw my phone across
He
the
is
room.
taking a bunch of her fish off of her hands,
Oh,
and I guess I don't know where they met or if she came to him or what. But
right.
yeah, I don't know if anyone else
Oh,
has been able to meet her because I know she was supposed to come to the Clash and I think Triple Crown, and then like something happened with her car and of course like her
in her
health and
house. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, so Tommy went to her house. That's nice. Oh, that's nice that you got to meet her. Oh, that's nice.
nice.
I always want to meet more of my friends. I want to meet Zenny because I'm not convinced she's real.
She
She
is
could be AI. We
she's
just
pretty
don't
elusive.
know. We just don't know. But I'm not going to come visit her now. It's too hot down there.
Yeah, it's not a good time.
It's the worst time. But some like February when I just
Hmm.
can't deal with it anymore. Maybe I'll just show up.
Oh, that's right. Her car caught on fire, which I guess could prevent you from driving the
You
car.
should not drive a car that catches fire. I don't know
Yeah.
a lot about cars, but yeah, you shouldn't do that. Ah, this stupid plant.
Hmm.
You can see it just floated to the top. Ugh, so hard to keep it.
Oh, is
Blixes.
that the
So hard.
new the new, what is it,
The
Blixa that you
Blixa
got?
Albertia. Yeah, I had it rooted. I even put more substrate in the back corner to keep it rooted, and it was fine for like 4 days. And just today, it had floated up, and so I stuffed it back down. But it has floated back up again.
I
So
used to struggle with that a lot when I first got started with stem plants, and I think I spent $100 on plant weights in total
yeah,
just to like keep the stuff down. But then then the substrate is like 20% plant weights because the stem
right.
rots where the plant weight was. The plant weight just sits there in the
Yeah.
substrate for a while.
I mean, this one, I mean, it's kind of a stem and kind of a rosette plant all at once. So it does have a lot of roots on it, but it just doesn't want to stay. It doesn't want to stay down. So
Yeah.
I'll get it down though. I will do it.
See, this is where I'm a big fan of sand. Once I put sand in tanks, I no longer had problems keeping plants down. I know you don't like sand caps, but damn
I
if they don't work.
I know, and that was the one thing I did like about sand, but I do think that the plants grow a lot better without it. And most things I don't have trouble staying rooted, but this is a very, very large plant that has some roots but not a ton. So, and but I'll get it down. It'll stay. It will have to.
Ooh, what if I did like an A/B test? So on Discord, we were talking about I've got these two 3-gallon tanks,
Yeah.
rimless tanks, and I want to do some side-by-side comparisons, like running a 0 kh tank next to I don't know, incredibly high kh, 20-degree kh or something
Oh
like that.
God, that sounds awful.
Just to do like a very stark contrast of like this is what having carbon in your
Right.
water will do.
And
And then not inject CO2 in either one. So we just have the natural CO2 bioavailability in the low kh water, and then the high kh water
20
blocking
kh, a
absorption of
20
everything.
kh tank with no CO2. And I mean, I've lived that life.
Well, it doesn't have to be 20 kh. I'm just
Mm,
trying to think like what would
yeah.
be the best stark contrast, like what would make for a good visual comparison? Because it's not like I'm going to reach
I
any.
think even your tap water versus 0 kh, I think it would be a huge difference because it's, yeah. And he's just, oh
Make
God.
testes.
Make testes.
That works.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a good one. I think a substrate side by side, that would be a good one too. I mean,
Yeah.
those would make really valuable videos. But instead of doing that, why don't you make top 10 fish for a blah 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 and you've never kept any of the fish before? I think that's the most valuable content.
Ooh,
The internet
species
needs way
profiles.
more of those, but you haven't kept any of them. That's the
Oh,
most
well then
valuable content.
obviously if I do species profiles, I'll start with African
Yeah, I was
cichlids,
gonna say top 10 African cichlids, but you've never kept a single one.
and I
That's
don't know
the
a damn
most
thing about them.
valuable. That's the most valuable content on YouTube.
It's a shame because it gets views. I just would hate
Scott,
life making stuff like that.
so Scotty has a member milestone chat. There's no conflicting info, Scotty. You have to plant your iris. You cannot float your iris. Iris is not a floating plant. You can float it for a little bit until you plant it, but you have to plant it. It's got a big old rhizome. You must plant it. There is no conflicting no conflict. You
I
must
can't
plant.
imagine floating iris. It's
No,
large and has a big root ball at the
it's
bottom,
gonna
and
rot. What's gonna happen
yeah.
is the rhizome, it has a big, big rhizome, is going to rot. Yeah, so maybe this is not a plant for you. Now, what you can do is you can plant it in your yard.
Mhm.
You know, if it gets sun, needs mostly full sun.
I mean, I guess
Um,
mine's technically in a pot or a container,
yeah, I mean it's
but
potted, right? But
Jenna has brought to my attention we have a new viewer, Laura R.
wow!
Welcome.
Hello, Laura. Welcome. The root ball will not sink, Scotty. It will not sink. You must plant it. It has to be planted. You can plant it in a basket of gravel. You can plant it in a tub of like mud. You can plant it in, Renee says she uses a milk crate. That works great. You can plant it in a fabric pot in your pond. You can plant it in the bottom of your pond that has substrate in it. You can plant it in your yard. You have to plant it. It is not a floating plant.
I
I don't
got
know where
side
you got this
pockets
iris from.
in
I hope you
mine.
didn't pay money for it because, like, you shouldn't buy plants you don't know how to grow. I mean, I don't know. That's
I
harsh, I
I I
guess,
spent a
but
couple of years doing that, but
yeah,
that's how I learned.
it is how you learn. But like, especially if you're not willing to do research on them, like, what are you doing?
Scotty is backwards. Plants his aquarium plants in pots and won't pot his pond plants.
Tough times. I mean, there are some people who they do plant their pond plants in the bottom of tubs. However, then they're harder to take apart. And for smaller tubs, you usually take them down at the end of the season. Like if you have a tub as small as Scotty does, you need to take them down at the end of the season. And that's where those pots are so easy because you can take the whole pot out and put it into storage at the end. Yeah. And Tommy says sometimes you just jump in to learn a thing. That's true, but you know,
I kind of do both.
yeah, I
I'll
mean, but
buy the
there's
plant.
so many good resources for like doing research. Like if you buy it, I mean, Ted Coletti wrote a book. I think you own that book. Like read the book. There's no conflict in that book on how to grow an iris. I've
And
read the book.
irises, that is, so Laura was asking, are there no truly aquatic irises? That is pretty much exclusively an outdoor, in a pot
Yeah,
or in the
they're
ground type of.
marginal.
Yeah.
Many irises are not marginals. Many are, like the bearded irises and Siberian irises, you would grow in your yard in full sun. But the blue flag iris or the iris pseudochorus, yeah. I mean, do research, but not everyone does or has time. Well, I mean, part of the hobby is doing your research and doing your homework. It's part of it. I mean, yeah, it's a plant, and if it dies, whatever. But are we going to extend that to fish too? Like, are you
No. See,
going to
I
kill
do
fish?
treat those two differently. Like I will kill a bunch of plants and it's just for me, it's like, well, I lost some money and I messed up and I probably could have done that better. With fish, I'm not gonna get a fish and then figure out how to keep it alive.
Yeah,
Like as plants and animals treated differently, which I
yeah,
think Tommy's just talking about plants because
yeah.
just try it, see what
And there are
happens.
some plants I am willing to just try, but I have some idea of how to grow them first. Because like I kind of know that like hygrophila chai is not going to work for me, and so I don't buy it. But yeah. And so Renee says you don't have to plant it in dirt. You can plant it like in a basket of gravel.
Yeah.
But it has to have something to root into, and it does get root bound quickly, and that's because it gets really big. So yeah, and the milk crate is a good thing. These little flag irises, they don't get quite as big, but I mean,
My
if you leave
irises,
your irises outdoors, they those clumps get really big over time. So you do have to divide them at the end of the season, and you know it's
yeah,
part of
mine
it.
haven't gotten really big. They haven't died off. They haven't flowered. They're just kind of there, just the leaves growing.
Yeah, I I mean, I've never grown Louisiana irises, so I can't say. I wonder if they're not quite getting enough sun.
Could be. And
How
damn,
many
that canna
hours?
is getting
Yeah,
tall. Like, holy crap. It's starting to
yeah,
shade things out.
yeah. But I mean, how many hours of sunlight does your pond get a day? Because it doesn't get. It's in shade a good part of the day, right?
Yeah, I guess because it's in kind of sandwiched by the house and the carport. And so it gets a few hours, doesn't get a full day of sun. So that's why like
Yeah,
the the pink beauty that you sent, that
It's
lily
yeah,
didn't really do anything,
yeah.
whereas
That one
the
needs
other
a little
one
more
she sent me.
sun. Yeah. Which side of the house is it on? Like, is it on the east?
South.
Okay, so it is getting sun the full day. So it's probably sun is probably not the issue. I wonder if it needs one more season.
Maybe. Maybe more root tabs too.
Yeah.
Because it's
I
like
mean,
the pond never has nitrates ever.
yeah.
I go and test it and it's got nothing.
The problem with fertilizing those irises in gravel is, you put a root tab in there and there's nothing holding on. It just dissolves away in the gravel. And so, but it can pull that nutrient out of the water column.
True. Maybe I should try like a milk carton type thing where it actually holds on to it and try to hang that onto the side and see what it looks. Because yeah,
I
I
mean,
do have a lot of those felt
it's worth
pockets.
trying. I mean, like you did your canna. I mean, because my cannas, I don't grow them in baskets of gravel because I want them to be able, they're heavy feeders to keep them blooming. And so that's why I grow them in a big tub with no holes. So,
Yeah, the cannas are in a pot set up just like the lily.
yeah, I stored some of that canna. I sent you that pink canna, and I'm hoping, I mean, it had some roots coming off of it. So I'm hoping it comes back. But if it doesn't, you need to send me a piece of it. Because that's the best canna. It's so good. It has the prettiest flowers. And
Yeah.
it does so well in a pond. So much better than anything else.
So Zen said, Kelly, OMG Kelly, did you see my post in fish cord plants like an
I
hour ago?
I couldn't read it because I had to shower. Because it was disgusting. So I saw it quick and I'm like, oh, Zenny tagged me, but like, oh, I have to shower. It's so important. It's so important. So Shady Grady says I put big mother Amazon plants roots in a mesh bag with soil and sand with pond tabs in my tub. It got cold here and the leaves got clear. Will it come back? It has a string of babies. Well, to hedge your the leaves that are clear are probably not going to come back. If it has like a good fat rhizome, might come back from that. If the
I've
babies
had
look
an
okay,
Amazon sword go almost completely dormant on me and then come back with
yeah.
the fury of 1,000 swords.
I mean, they don't like to be cold. They're not adapted to cold weather.
Mm.
But if the babies look good to hedge your bets, you could cut off a couple of the babies and propagate those. So I'm not sure. It just depends. And how cold is cold? Did it freeze? I mean,
Yeah, if it
they
got
don't
frost down to
they
the
don't
roots, then
want
it's
to be cold. They don't want to be cold. Yeah. So, and Scotty says that the root ball is enormous. So you can trim off all of those roots and just plant the rhizome and it will be just fine. So the rhizome is like the thick kind of, it looks like a root, like a lump of, like a piece of ginger root. You can trim off all the roots from it and it will be just fine. And you can plant that. You can use a milk crate. You can use a pond basket. I bet someone in your club has a pond basket. They can just give you one. Those work really well. You can use a fabric pot. Um,
not frozen, just cold.
okay, just cold. Um, it might come back. It depends. It might come back if the rhizome was insulated. Oh, someone meowed at me. Kitty. Yeah, I mean, it might come back. I would give it a chance, but you could plant up one of those babies to hedge your bet. That's what I would do. So
So Zen's post on Discord is just bragging more about her pink flamingo reproducing.
that's pretty awesome. Way to go. Maybe I should try it again. I don't know. Except like I don't know. don't know if I liked it enough to spend the money.
I don't like it, and I'm still gonna try it again just on principle. Like, I'm gonna make it work, by God, and then I'll get tired of it.
I mean, I did have it growing for like 8 months, and it was doing really well. But
She's had this going for a while, and it's been
yeah,
reproducing and not giving her green leaves and converting back to a Winty eye.
so I think that if I were to do it again, I would be more successful because I did go through after I had this tank set up for about 6 months. I had a period of like hair algae, and I haven't had any problems since because I think it just needed to settle down and find its balance. And now this
Mhm.
tank is pretty rock steady.
Yeah,
So maybe it would do better now. I don't know.
make it work.
But where am I going to put it? I mean, it's pretty full. I'd
Eh,
have to take out something.
rip up some of the carpet in the front. What do you have in the front there?
I have a hair grass, dwarf hair grass, but I like to have some open space
Yeah,
because I think that the rainbows are much happier with some open space. Also, I think if you have just a wall of plants, it's not as visually appealing. So, Steven, do you want to? I'm going to send you the picture of my yard.
oh yeah, been doing
Threw my
pond work.
phone across the room. I had to retrieve it.
All right.
What am I doing? So, still a work in progress. My goal is to be done by the end of next next holiday weekend. Let's see.
Oinky is, she said, I'm late at least once a year while hosing out plastic totes. I have to get my ankles stuck in mud and fall into the tote. Today was my yearly coffin encapsulation.
Oh, Oinky! Oh,
Get
be
that out of the way.
careful.
Hopefully you're all right.
Oh, well, I think some of those things are harder when you're shorter. Like, I don't have to climb in and I mean, I have a longer reach to reach my stuff. So,
I
so
thought
does
it
any
was the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
that could be true too. You know what? I'm like my mom. My mom uses her tallness as an excuse for everything. So, she's never been able to touch her toes. She's the tightest hamstring. She's like 6 inches from being able to touch her toes. And she always says, "Oh, I'm too tall for that. Oh, I'm too tall." Because my mom, before grandma shrink, was 5'11 and a half. So she is very tall. But still, like, I'm 5'10 and I can like palm the floor with no trouble. Like, come on. It's just an excuse. But then I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm too tall. So I get it. I sent them to you of what I've been working on.
You sent it to me a messenger?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow, Tommy, you're 6'4". I had no idea. And you've got good hamstrings. Way to go, Tommy. Good for you. My dad also. So this is a fun dad story. So my dad has retired from construction work, and his body is very much shot. He does not have any of his original joints left. Let's put it that way. And he went to the doctor. I think he was about 67 at the time. And he said, yeah, it was this real young doctor who asked me, he's like, no, just see if you can try to touch your toes. Just try. You probably can't, but let's see how far you can go. And he bends over and he can like palm the floor like it's nothing. And he's like, the doctor's,
that was my best PE activity whenever they would do like the presidential physical fitness test, the sit and reach.
me
Like
too.
I exceeded all
I
the standards for
know.
that.
Well, the guys like the standard is like -1 inches, but I could do 20 inches on the V sit and reach. So the one where I really fell down was like the pull-ups. I
Yeah, I
can't
can't do a
pull
pull up.
no. Jake can do like 20 of them.
That tracks, yeah.
He's not that big, because he's short. So that helps. Like the less you weigh, I mean, he is very strong, but like,
Yeah, upper body strength is a plus.
yes, but I cannot do those. Oh, go back to the one before that. Okay. So this is my yard. It is very much a work in progress, but so the main pond there, I have cleaned it out, the interior of the pond. I cleaned it out, I mucked it out, and I have all my water lilies are planted and divided and repotted. I have yeah, no more water lilies are coming. I am growing 7 lotuses this year, 2 from last year and 5 new ones. I have 2 more on the way. All my lotuses are doing incredible this year, and that is because of Nancy B. She has made my lotuses and my water lilies so much better because
So kitty litter or safety
kitty
orb rather.
litter.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm using kitty litter for my water lilies and my lotuses. So 4 parts kitty litter, 1 part cheap topsoil. And it just turns to this like nice soft mud. And the lotuses, they love it. Like if you see in that little pond in the front, there's some like light green leaves
mm-hmm.
there. So that's a lotus root. I planted that like 10 days ago. And I can't believe how much it's already grown. And they've never done this well, and I think it's because they just really like that soft mud. And then the clay has a high cation exchange capacity, so
Yeah,
cations are positively charged ions, so like calcium, magnesium, iron. And so cation exchange, it means it can pull those nutrients from the water column or the surrounding dissolved, and then the roots can take it up from there. It can exchange away from there. So it's more nutritious soil, the clay of the kitty litter. I wouldn't want to use this in my tank because it turns to mud, like, and it probably looks gross. And
yeah.
I just don't want like 4 inches of mud at the bottom of my tank. But for a pot of water lily, it works great.
I feel like Melvin was talking about that in our chat recently that
Yeah.
he had kitty litter, and every time he would fill up the tank, it just
Mm.
go everywhere.
Yeah, it does grow plants well, but I mean, it falls apart. But for these water lilies and lotuses, they're planted in pots that have no holes in them. So I use feed pans. You can get them at Tractor Supply or on Amazon. But you could also use a small bucket would be good. You don't want any holes. You don't want any of the nutrients getting into the water column. So they're contained and they have a little bit of gravel on top. So, but yeah, it
Yeah.
works great. And then the safety orb, so that's a fired clay product and it's very cheap. A bag of it is like $6. And I'm going to use that instead of gravel for my plants that are in baskets. And I think that will do a lot better because it's got a higher cation exchange capacity. So I think the roots will be better.
Did you just get this one?
No, so I had 2 ponds. That one and the other one, I got them last year and they blew out over the winter. They froze and
Oh no.
yeah, yeah,
Wait,
really
so this one
disappointing.
it doesn't hold water at all anymore?
Nope, nope, it blew out. And the funny thing is, the one on the far right,
Yeah.
that one is on its 3rd season and it is just fine. So,
Crazy.
and there was a pond in the front of there. It was a 4-foot long steel pond. That one also blew out too.
So are
And
you
so
gonna replace them or
I'm gonna
replace them with
replace them.
plastic?
Yeah, I'm gonna replace them because I really like the look of the steel ones.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm gonna take them down at the end of the season. But I'm turning them into planters because I don't want to throw them out. So that's what I did today. I planted one of them with some petunias. And so Shady Grady says they sell nice liners for them. Where do they sell those? Because I've been painting them with liquid rubber, but I would be very interested in knowing about like pre-made liners for them. So let me know
Hmm.
because yeah, I want to know that. But anyways, yeah, I turned it into a planter. I'm gonna do there in front of my house. So that's the next slide. You can see I did that. But yeah, I've been pretty busy. So the other thing is, in past years, I've been hanging pots of petunias off the side of my pond, but they dry out really quickly. So I upgraded them to pots that are like 5 times the size of that. They're 10.5-inch pots. So you can see one in the front there.
I just had to highlight this comment from Henry saying that's what makes it fun. MTS, they were talking about my and 14 tanks is nothing to my 130.
Oh, cow, 130 tanks. I only have 3. I feel like a failure.
I just
Wow.
I can't imagine.
I can't
I
do
am like
that.
at capacity with my 2021 tanks.
I mean, I gotta tell you that there's only so many CO2 injected tanks anyone can handle. Like just a lot.
Uh yeah, I think 8 or less is is about where I'm at. I finally replaced that I had an F zone that was injecting 3 tanks at once, and it's not meant for that.
Yeah.
So I got an SR Aquaristics. I found it in stock at Aqua Cave and got 3 manifolds for it and set it and forget it. And I love that regulator, and it's the best that I've had.
Nice. I've never used one of theirs. I use GLA
Mm.
regulators, and I am really happy with them. But it's like once you have a good regulator, you don't need another one. Yeah. So this is I just planted this today. That's why the plants look really small and puny. But don't worry, they will be enormous. They will get bigger. They will cascade over the side. Um, so that's on the side of my house. That one gets full sun. The other one I'm going to put just around the corner and have a planter there. So I will still be using them, but they're not pondable. So Shady Grady says they sell them at Tractor Supply. I've never seen them there, but I will look on their website because I do I do shop at Tractor Supply. That's where I get these tanks. So yeah. But anyways, that's what I've been
Cool.
working on. I do a little bit every day. It's still a work in progress. Taking
Goldfish
me
are
about a
still
month.
alive and kicking in the.
Goldfish are still alive. They're
Did you figure out if you have any rice fish left, or did they get claimed by the winter?
they this was a hard winter. They didn't make it. The goldfish now are 6 years old, maybe 7 years.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, because that pond is 6 years old, which I'm amazed. It's not built with it's pretty rickety. I
Well,
mean, but
it's
it keeps going.
obviously stronger than those galvanized tubs.
Yeah, I was really surprised. The funny thing is they have a plug in them that's supposed to be like for that would blow out in case there was, the whole tub froze, but that didn't blow out. The whole bottom of it just
Wow.
yeah. So Dee Dee says, I have added the hanging baskets too on my metal stock tank. Yes, I stole your idea. I love that. I love that you did that. Yeah, I love to hang baskets on there. I just upgraded to bigger pots because I did have like little 6-inch pots all around it. And I'm not willing to water more than once a day. So, but with these pots, on most days, I could probably even just water them every other day on normal weather. So that'll be nice. The plants will be much happier. So
Cool. Tommy's getting CO2 with a custom built
yay!
regulator. That's like
Nice.
the cream of the crop. You get
Oh
someone who's
yeah,
good at building
for
those regulators.
sure. Totally. That's awesome. That's the way to go. If I had known the names of people who built regulators when I got these, that's what I would have done because it's a one-time expense. I know that Mike has regulators he's been using since I don't know, 2008 or something. If you get a good
Mhm.
regulator, it lasts, I guess maybe not forever, but a really, really long time. So it is worth getting a good one.
Well, if it
For
outlasts my interest in, excessively trimming plants all the time.
So
I've been thinking about doing a video because I have this one tank in the living room that has the highest lighting levels, and it's CO2 injected, and it has a crap ton of stem plants and everything else in there, and I don't pay a lot of attention to it, and so it gets problems like algae and overgrowth that shades out other things. I've been thinking about doing a video of like what they don't tell you about those Instagram tanks, the ones that are just like perfectly well manicured. And there because there's things like they use RO water. They
yeah.
have two other tanks running in the background to keep those stem
And
plants in a
and they have
cycle.
2 other tanks. They don't have 20 tanks.
Right.
I mean, my favorite thing is, so Josh Sim, who's probably the top aquascaper in the world. He's won the the big ADA competition several times, and he's placed many times. So he's very, very good. There's a video with him on Green Aqua's channel, and somebody asked him how many tanks he had. He has 4. One is escape that is getting ready or is closer to competition ready. One is a couple months behind that he's working on, and then he has farm tanks. Just
He
so he
probably
always,
spends more
yeah,
time on that one competition tank than I spend on all 20 of mine
yeah.
combined.
Well, and he does water changes 2 or 3 times a week.
Because yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like honestly, like if I were to do water changes like every day, my plants and fish would love it. They would love it. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm not willing to do water changes more than once a week. But if
Yeah.
I had my tanks plumbed for water changes, which someday I would really, really like, not necessarily auto water changes, but so you could just flip a tap, and it would drain away. So I wouldn't have to get out the Python. Yeah. It
Yeah. That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be really nice. So there's a couple questions up here. Foxanne asks, she says she's got water lilies in the fridge asking me to plant them. Should I listen? There's a diving planting mission planned for tomorrow. Oh, this is very exciting. Yes, you should plant them. You should listen. You should give in. But you should wait till that you buy some kitty litter. Don't just use
Yeah.
the sand because
How
it
what's the Wisconsin winters like? Because I know it was, like, snowing last month over there.
They're zone 5. They're
Yeah.
ready. And the thing is hardy water lilies, they're hardy. I mean, if the water is warm enough that you feel like working in it, it's fine. I just don't feel like sticking my hand in the water when it's only 45 degrees out. I mean, I could get out there and divide them. I just don't want to. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it should be plenty warm there. And my sister, she's the same zone as Foxanne. She lives a couple hours north of there, or I mean, of south of there. But she was traveling north, and the weather was great. So they've had plenty of warm weather. So yeah.
She said the lilies survived the winter. The pond is 7 feet deep, so that helps.
Oh yeah, and they're gonna be fine. I mean, as long as they don't freeze solid, they're so hardy. I mean, there is a point where maybe they would get too hot. I don't think that outside of the United States. Like so even the southern Florida is zone 10, but maybe like Puerto Rico it would get too hot and they wouldn't be happy. I don't know. But there is nowhere in the continental United States where you can't grow a hardy water lily. They're so easy. So
Hmm.
easy. So Dee Dee asked, does Monte Carlo need CO2? The tanks I have it in now do have CO2, but I have another tank without it that I would like to try. That is a plant that absolutely does need CO2. In
Yeah, I
fact,
would say so.
yeah, Monte Carlo is one of my favorite plants to use as an indicator of am I injecting enough CO2? Because if the leaves are getting kind of puny and it's not growing really well, it it means it's not getting enough CO2. It's kind of a bellwether that I use. Um, so yeah, I that's there are many plants that will grow. Some will grow great without CO2. Some will limp along. I don't think Monte Carlo will grow at all. So sorry about that. Keep it in your CO2 tanks. I mean, you could try a little bit of it, but I don't think it's going to be that happy.
It might, I guess if you put it in RO, it might do okay.
Even
Uh,
then, even then, that's it's pretty famous for being a CO2 hog.
so Juanita said it snowed today or this morning.
Holy cow.
Uh, she's in Idaho, I think.
Yeah. What grow zone are you, Juanita? Do you know? I'm interested. Because my parents are zone 5. Foxana zone 5. My sister's 5B. I'm 6A. Steven, you're like 8, maybe 9.
8B or 9A, something like
You're
that.
9A. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Oh, you're zone 2. Whew. Yeah, so you must be higher up in the mountains. Wow.
Dang.
That's tough. That's a short season. You might, yeah, that's tough. I think you can still grow hardy water lilies, but your season is short. Your season is short.
Oh, while we were talking about aquascapes, it reminded me the Aquashella was this weekend and they had the Fluval Scape contest, and Grant and Shelby did their own each
Oh,
to
wow.
compete. And Grant placed first, Shelby second place. And I saw the picture of Grant's posted on Facebook. I don't know if you'd
That's
seen it yet.
cool. I have
It's
not
pretty
seen.
damn striking to me.
He is very, oh, wow.
And it's your
Wow.
favorite type without the wood. He used, I guess he used every piece of dragonstone they had available. I don't
Yeah.
know if anybody else got any dragonstone.
Wow.
That's
That's really
crazy good
cool.
though.
I
Yeah.
mean, and I think that's a good competition tank
Hmm.
because there's not a lot of plants in there. It's mostly just
Right.
hardscape. But I
And you
don't,
would stock it with just like a school of nanofish.
yeah. He is, though they are both so good at building hardscape.
Hmm.
I don't want to have that tank though.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's kind of like why I want to do that video
Yeah.
of like these are awesome, and you might,
Yeah.
as a beginner, aspire to be that way or think that you're never going to be good enough to be that way. But then, like, ask yourself, do you want to do this? Because even if you're good at it, you're still putting in way more work than you might be, and I definitely am not willing to do.
Yeah. I mean,
But as far as a piece of art like this, it looks damn good.
yeah, it's beautiful. I just don't, it's not, I don't know how sustainable it is, but it's for a
I don't
contest.
know.
The
Yeah,
contest
exactly.
is one day. It's not 6 months from now, you know?
How the hell did he get this home? It had to weigh a ton.
Did he take that home?
You take the tank home, and I
Yeah.
guarantee you he took this home.
Oh no, they take everything home. They're scavengers.
I mean, when you got, well, I don't even know how many damn tanks they have now, but like, yeah, when you're running a business and you've got that many tanks, basically anything you can get.
Yeah. No, I mean all the stratum and
Yeah,
all the, I mean hardscape isn't cheap.
no.
Well, way to go to Grant and Shelby. I mean, that's probably gotta irk Shelby though that Grant Peter. I mean,
Well, she came in second place, so,
she
and that
did,
was
but
among I don't know how many
yeah,
people participating, but that's
they
pretty good.
are both very talented.
Hmm.
And I mean, I did competition aquascaping once, and it was a thing I did, and I don't want to do it again. I'm I didn't have much fun doing it.
It's work. It really is work.
Yeah, when like I just don't want to spend the time building something just to tear it down. I mean, I'm willing to like build something for one of my own tanks. Also, if you go to an event and you aquascape, you can't really enjoy the event. This is the problem because you don't have time to hang out with people and talk and shop and
I assume that they were also like trying to sell shrimp
yeah,
and maybe even judge a shrimp con. I don't know. They do
yeah.
everything.
I mean, they're crazy. I mean, usually they work together. So like one of them can work their
Uh,
table and sell while
I
the other
think
one
Tim helped.
can help them. Oh, that's good. Because otherwise, I don't know how they would do it.
Maybe
Yeah,
there's clones of them
I don't
around. We
know.
just haven't seen them in the same place.
Yeah. By the way, just to go back to our previous conversation, if you ever want to know your grow zone, you go to the USDA's, Google USDA grow zone, and you can enter your zip code. And that's how you figure it out because they have it down to zip code. So,
2023 is I guess, the latest map.
yep, they just updated it, and a lot of people changed. I didn't, but it used to be that only a tiny bit of Indiana was 6A, and now like half the whole northern half of the state is 6A. Yeah, so you want to enter your zip code, and it will tell you what your grow zone is.
9A.
9A. Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
different from what I do.
since 1991 to 2020, it was 9A, and then, or no, 2012 hardiness zone 8B. I don't know. It's currently 9A.
Yeah. Well, and it's changing
Hmm.
because, like, I remember when I was a kid, my parents were zone 4B, maybe even 4A, and now they're 5A. Huge difference. I mean, because 4A, you can't grow anything in zone 4. I mean, you can't grow lavender even. It's so cold. But, I mean, climate change is a thing. So, but, anyways, that's how you figure out what grow zone you're in. And then when you go to the garden center, you can use it to select your plants to know if they're hardy. Or if you're ordering something, you're like, I don't know if this will survive our winters. Well, that's how you figure that out. So, like, for instance, I can't grow artichokes. Name some small, nippy fish. I don't know. Some gouramis are mean.
Garamis, indeed. Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh,
I feel
the
like it's
bucktooth tetra. It's a pretty nippy one.
bleeding heart tetras. Those are nippers.
Yeah.
A lot of tetras are nippers.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
I
really
think she
keep
wants us to
those.
say barbs.
I mean, she wants a bingo question. Are
Hmm.
we gonna? I mean, you already said Barb, so you have
Yeah.
given in. You have
Yeah.
you have given in. I have nothing to unbox. I haven't gone off camera. We're not streaming vertically. I mean, this is tough times. We're
I
getting.
already ate too. I got nothing to eat on camera.
I mean, I am drinking a beverage. I'm about to open my second one of these, so there's that. But
Yep. That's drinking on camera.
there you go. Tiger barbs. They are nippy. They are, but they're really pretty. But I don't think I want to keep them. They're too nippy.
That's what I've heard. I have black ruby barbs. They're fine. Maybe because there's enough of them to uh, hang out with themselves. They do a lot of like spinning in circles with each other.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you have some candy you can eat?
I don't keep candy in the house because I would just eat it. I don't
Mm.
keep desserts or candy or chips in the house. I mean, I like those foods, but I don't keep them in the house. Like if I want a cake, I have to either leave the house or make a cake.
That's probably a
So,
good idea.
yeah. I can't keep ice cream in the house. No. That's a bad idea. I would eat it all.
We do like the occasionally get ice cream, and like we get I guess a half gallon, and then we can have it 2 nights with
Yeah.
among the four of us.
But
And
here's the thing, you guys have kids.
yeah,
So your kids will eat your junk food. And if Zachary eats a bunch of junk food, he's still gonna be like this big around. So,
don't know where he gets that gene from.
he's so little. He's a, but he has tremendous hair. It all goes into his hair.
Yeah, the
But you
wild
guys are
hair.
kind of the good hair family. Like you guys all have super thick hair. So,
I
but
need to
yeah,
get a haircut before I go to the beach.
because you'll be hot otherwise.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Foxanne says we have long fin cherry barbs. I bet those are
Yeah,
fun.
cherry barbs are peaceful. No nipping there.
Geek Boy says, moral of the story, don't go visit Kelly. But here's the thing, I will bake for you and I'll cook for you. Like if they're visitors, like I'll make lasagna and cake and pie and I just can't have that in the house for me. It's not good. Oh,
And Blanky reminding everyone there will not be a McStreamy this Friday because we'll
right.
be going to the beach, going
Yes.
to Gulf Shores. And then Monday is a federal holiday. You and Jake will be busy.
Yep.
I will be recovering. So no wet your plants next Monday. So
Right.
you won't see me again until uh, Friday next week. However, you're doing something tomorrow, aren't you?
Yes. I haven't set up the stream yet, but we're going to have a live scaping of my second biorb. I bought
Sweet.
another biorb back in January, and these plants, they're going to die in the heat if I don't get them planted. So, yeah, we're going to live scape it. I have lovely co hosts to manage the chat,
Is that
Foxanne and
Foxy and Dee
Dee.
Dee? Nice.
Right, because it's very hard to read chat and escape at the same time. So we're going to do that. And I think we're going to start at 2 o'clock Eastern. So, because I have a meeting at noon. So, yeah, 2 o'clock Eastern. And hopefully we'll get it done by the time I have to go to yoga at 5. So, we
Cool.
should be able to. Yeah, should be fun. But other than that, yeah, you will not see Steven or I. But you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
It's good to take a break.
That's right.
I need a break. Yeah, Benjamin, he said, Memorial Day weekend at the beach, better pack your patience, bro. I always bring my patience. I just don't have a lot.
Busy. It gets busy at the beach then. But like you don't want to go to the beach on the 4th of July. That's too
No.
hot. That's very hot down there.
I mean, I don't know how much actual beach time there will be. We do have like a dolphin watching thing
Oh,
scheduled. And we have a hotel on the beach, so I just be on the balcony and look and not actually go on the sand.
that's nice. I don't know where we're gonna go on vacation in July. We haven't decided yet. So I don't know. Oinky says, if I ever visit you, you don't have to worry about lighting the stove for me. If I could have a cup of coffee and a warm hug, that's all I ask for. I don't have any coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I don't own a coffee maker. I would have to take you out for coffee. It would be easier for me to make you a big breakfast than to make you coffee.
Maybe she's okay with instant coffee. Get some
I guess.
Folgers crystals.
I mean, I would go get you coffee, but we're tea drinkers, so I make tea for Jake and I because we don't like coffee. So
Tommy
says,
said,
"Oh,
yeah, he says, saved a seagull. They got hooked by an elderly lady. She got hooked in the thumb, and the seagull got hooked in the wing, so it kept flying and setting the
oh,
hook further in her
God.
thumb.
Oh, you saved them both. You saved her
Good.
thumb and a bird."
Well, I got to get back to work.
Yeah,
Probably
and
finish some stuff up before I leave Friday.
I'm very hungry. So, but thank
I
you,
don't know
everyone.
who is streaming right now. Y'all have options in an hour. I think Steamfy does a members only in 30 minutes from now. So
Isn't Scotty going soon?
whatever. He's scheduled for 6. He might start early, but I don't know. Find something to do.
Find something to do, people. Go call your mothers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Find something to do. But thank you, everyone. Oh, Scotty says he is going to start early. He's just going to go get himself something to drink. So there you go. You can see Scotty's stream. I thought Scotty was going to change his time soon, though. So I don't know. You'll have to ask him.
Oh, is Jeff Pelham live right now? I didn't even realize
Oh,
that.
Hello,
So
Jeff.
there, yeah, here we go. AAA with okay, I didn't even realize he was live. So there you go. Options. Alrighty. Well,
To
we'll
everyone.
see y'all like the end of next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.